So I had to get up. She was sitting in a chair, and I turned her around so that her back would be exposed to me. Put my arms around her and pressed where I described it on the abdomen below the rib cage. And after 3 compressions, this piece of meat came out, and she just started breathing. Her face changed.
What did you think?
Right?
What did you think? How did you feel? What did you think? How did that make you feel?
I just, I sort of felt wonderful about it, just having saved that girl. And though I knew it was working all over the world, I just felt a satisfaction.
I walked in to the dining room Monday night, and I don't have a favorite seat because I'm so new that I just, you know, unless somebody calls me and says, would you like to, but I don't have that many calls yet, you know, to have, to sit with them. So I just sat down at a table, and as I wrote in the note that I wrote to the doctor, Dr. Heimlich, I said, God put me in this seat next to you, because I ordered a hamburger, and the next thing I know, I couldn't breathe. I was choking so hard.
Oh my gosh.
And that's Dr. Heimlich next to me. So he did the Heimlich maneuver, but it's the first time he'd ever done it on a patient. He'd always taught people how to do it, but did he say this to you? Yeah. But he did it. So when I wrote my thank you note to him for saving my life, I said, God put me in that seat right next to you, Dr. Heimlich, so you could save my life, because I was gone. I couldn't breathe at all for a long time.
Well, it was pretty much a busy night. Every table was filled up. As a matter of fact, we had a waiting list of guests and residents wanting to come in. Actually, I felt like I was on stage. Everyone stopped eating, and everyone was looking at Dr. Heimlich and the maneuver that he was doing. And it was totally quiet in the dining room at that time.
You ever seen it like that before?
Never seen that before. And it dawned on me what was going on. Well, first of all, the resident was being tended to, and she was safe. But more importantly, it was almost like history was being made. So I was trained to do it, and I have before, but this is the first time the person who originated was actually doing it before my eyes.
What happened afterwards? Did everything kind of bounce back to normal? Did they take her up to medical, or was she okay right away?
She was okay right away. She knew that she was in great hands, and everyone went back eating again, including Dr. Heimlich and everyone at that table. Well, what was interesting is that Mrs. Reese had an open-faced hamburger, and that's one of her favorite dishes. Everyone was having a great time. The flow was great, and then all of a sudden this happened, which made the occasion even more unique.
Was this amazing?
Is this amazing?
Is this amazing?
Oh, about Dad?
Your dad's 92.
Come on, look at you or there.
Neither are.
Well, it's 96, actually. He's 96. Yeah, Dad was born in 1920, February of 1920. And
We're rolling right now. You know, I'll cut it up, but I just want to get, you know, it's best
Sure.
to get your natural reactions. He's still doing it.
He's still doing it, yeah. I mean, Dad for 96 is doing pretty good. And, you know, people always ask, has your father ever used the Heimlich maneuver? And, you know, he's used it on movie stars, and he was on Johnny Carson on all the big talk shows when he invented it. And, you know, he always kidded about enjoying doing it more on starlets like Angie Dickinson than on, you know, Johnny Carson or something like that. But he's never had to do it in real life. And I think it's amazing that this circumstance happened, that he got to perform it. When you think about it, for any 96-year-old guy to be able to get up, react and perform a first aid measure is pretty impressive, but for the guy who invented it to actually do it is just incredible.
When did they call you? When did you get the alert? Dad was up to it again.
Yeah, I got a call from his assistant the next day, and at first I was like, are you sure? I mean, this really happened? Because to tell you the truth, it actually takes a certain amount of agility to save someone. I mean, you have to jump up, and you have to get your arms around them, and you have to do something. It's a physical thing. But Dad is, for 96, is in great shape. He swims every other day in the pool at Dupree, and he stays in good shape. He has an exercise class, a senior citizens class he does, so I think it paid off. And the fact that he's at such a great institution as Dupree, I think has enabled him to kind of stay in shape and keep active. And I think that allowed him to perform this. I mean, let's face it, a lot of people a lot younger than 96 in that situation, whether they invented it or not, would probably just sit there and kind of look like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But it sounds like Dad reacted pretty quickly and set a great example. And the neat thing is, learning the Heimlich maneuver is like inoculating yourself against a disease. I mean, the more people that learn about it, the more likely that lives will be saved. There's nothing more tragic than somebody struck down in the prime of their life because they choked on a piece of steak and nobody around them knew to do the Heimlich maneuver. That is tragic.
Did they tell you what it was? Mama Cass had
piece of ham. Mama Cass died from a piece of ham. I think Tommy Dorsey, the famous band director, I mean, you can go on, the list is endless. And since Dad invented this in 1974, you rarely hear about somebody dying by God's grace. And in fact, some of the famous people, Ronald Reagan was saved by one of his aides. Recently, the president of Walt Disney. There was a story that just recently, I think it was, I forget his name.
Michael Eisner.
The top guy at Disney was saved by his right-hand guy. So this is such a common thing, and this hopefully, if people hear about Dad performing it, that will encourage them to learn about it, to maybe sign up for the Heimlich Heroes program and get information so more and more people can learn, especially kids. I mean, every kid in the country should learn how to do the Heimlich maneuver.
Can you talk about the Heimlich maneuver day?
Yeah, I mean,
Is it June 1st? Remind me.
I think it's June 1st.
How odd is it that
Yeah, it's kind of neat that this happened a week before Heimlich Maneuver Day. Kind of interesting timing there on that. And hopefully that will encourage people on Heimlich Maneuver Day to really make sure they know how to do the Heimlich maneuver. I'll tell you something interesting, how serious I take this. Even though I'm 63, I have a 10-year-old and a 13-year-old kid. And every time we have a babysitter at our house, I make them show me that they know how to do the Heimlich maneuver. I'll get my son Henry, who's named after my dad, and I'll demonstrate it on him because, I mean, it's a serious thing. I mean, when you're choking, you do not have time for 911 to get there. You got 4 minutes or that person's going to die. It's not something you can rely on anybody else on the phone helping you. You have to be able to do it. And so, everybody needs to know, whether it's your husband, your wife, your kid choking, or kids have done it on their parents. You've got to know how to do it.
So it works.
You know something? It always works. I've never heard an instance. I've heard a lot of instances where people slap people on the back and it doesn't work, which I think happened in the Disney case. But the maneuver always works. So for gosh sakes, know the signs. Somebody's turning blue, they can't breathe or speak. Know how to do it. If you do too high, you break a rib. If you do it too low, it doesn't work. You know how to do it.
We'll get a quick still here. You're doing a hell of a job here, bro.
Yeah,
That's
great
a pro.
sound bites.
3 by 2 by 1.
Yeah, it is June 1st.
Yeah,
Just
it is amazing.